Microsoft Azure, cloud computing at global scale. Agenda, cloud computing models, Azure history. Why Azure? Azure resource lifecycle. Getting started, basic workflow, compute and storage. Cloud computing. Cloud computing delivers servers, storage, and services over the internet built for what you actually use. If demand spikes or a region has an outage, you can provision more capacity or failover in minutes, not weeks. Almost every modern organization runs at least part of its workload in the cloud. Any company scaling globally relies on a cloud platform to reach customers reliably. Buying and racking physical servers for every new project does not scale. On-premises and cloud systems. An on-premises system runs on hardware you own and maintain in your own data center. A cloud platform like Azure rents compute, storage, and networking from Microsoft's global infrastructure. On-premises, your own server room, self-managed hardware, fixed upfront capacity. Cloud, Azure, AWS, Google Cloud. Problems with on-premises infrastructure. Single point of failure. One data center outage can take down everything you run. Large upfront capital cost for hardware that may sit underused for years. Slow to scale. Ordering, racking, and configuring new servers takes weeks. Hard to reach customers around the world with consistently low latency. Every patch, backup, and security update is your team's responsibility alone. Misses out on managed services that remove entire categories of operational work. Azure Cloud Platform System infrastructure is declared in Azure Resource Manager ARM templates or passive files and kept in a source or Git repository. Resources are organized into resource groups within one of Microsoft's many global regions. Azure Resource Manager reconciles the deployed resources to match the declared configuration. Other similar cloud platforms, AWS, Google Cloud, IBM Cloud, Oracle Cloud. Azure advantages runs across more global regions than almost any other cloud provider. Speeds up delivery with managed services for compute, databases, and AI. Scales automatically to meet demand, then scales back down to control cost. Makes hybrid and on-premises integration simple through Azure Arc and Azure Stack. Deep integration with Microsoft 365, Active Directory, and enterprise tooling. Strong compliance certifications across nearly every regulated industry. Everything is a resource almost. One huge benefit is that in Azure, almost everything you create is a resource inside a resource group. Tags let you label resources for cost tracking, ownership, and automation. Role-based access control governs exactly who can act on which resource. Azure Monitor and Cost Management give visibility into every resource, health, and spend. Deleting a resource group cleanly tears down everything inside it in one step. Resource groups and regions. Resource groups. A logical container that holds related resources for a project. Regions, a physical location where Azure data centers run your resources. Main.bicep. A bicep file declares a resource, like a storage account, in a clean, readable format. Resource, storage account, right? Deploying with the Azure CLI. Here, the Azure CLI deploys the bicep template and confirms the resulting resources. History. Announced in 2008 as Project Red Dog and launched publicly as Windows Azure in 2010. Renamed Microsoft Azure in 2014 to reflect its growth well beyond Windows-only workloads. Expanded rapidly through the 2010s to cover compute, databases, AI, and IoT across a growing list of global regions. Azure Resource Manager, introduced in 2014, became the unified way to deploy and manage resources. Now, one of the largest cloud platforms in the world, second only to AWS in market share. Why Azure? Global reach, more regions than almost any competing cloud platform. Hybrid friendly, first class support for on premises and multi cloud setups. Enterprise integration, deep ties to Windows Server, Active Directory, and Microsoft 365. Managed services, offload databases, Kubernetes, and AI infrastructure to Microsoft. Strong compliance, certification spanning finance, healthcare, and government, backed by Microsoft's long-term investment in cloud infrastructure. The resource group. A resource group is the boundary within which every Azure resource for a project lives. Every resource must belong to exactly one resource group and one region. Access, cost, and policy controls are commonly applied at the resource group level. Delete the resource group and every resource inside it is deleted along with it. Azure Resource Lifecycle AZ Group Create, Provision, AZ Deployment Create, Deploy, Azure Monitor, AZ Group Delete, Deallocate. Resources are provisioned in a resource group, deployed from a template, monitored for health and cost, and deallocated when no longer needed. Getting started with Azure. This leads us to the three commands that get a project running in the cloud. Easy login. Sign in to your Azure account from the CLI. Easy group create. Create a resource group to hold your project resources. Easy VM create. Stand up your first virtual machine. Basic workflow. Create the resources in Azure. Maintain them in infrastructure as a code. Monitor and feedback and optimize. Provisioning, deploying, and monitoring. Some call provision, deploy, and monitor Azure's everyday loop. Declarative. Reapply the same template and Azure only changes what's different. AZ resource list gives an instant snapshot of what's running. Scaling a service is one command away with no manual hardware involved. Azure monitor and alerts catch problems before customers notice them. Supports many workflows, web apps, Kubernetes, serverless functions, data pipelines, AI workloads. Works the same across every region Azure operates in. Any questions? Thank you.